For those of you watching on YouTube, this segment is the ISIS Bride segment. I'm going to get into this, but first let me tell you, if you want to listen to the entire podcast, it's down in the links below. And I just got done with a full intro, and I would appreciate it if you listen to that too. It'll add a little context to today's podcast. ISIS brides trying to return to the United States. As I said in the opener, I would like the President of the United States to create a department, the Department of FU, EPHEWE, FU, and I want to be the head of it. I would like it if the President would send me, every time somebody needs to be told FU, I would like him to send me. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you'll notice down at the little subscribe thing, you'll notice how many followers I have just underneath that. It's less than 300. Would you do your part, please? Would you please hit subscribe, hit share, hit the bell icon? Try to get the word out, man. I'm trying to blow up like PewDiePie, man. Nobody's more famous than PewDiePie, except for cats. Cat videos. Everybody loves cats. Now, do that, and if you want to listen to the entire podcast, there's a couple of links below. My podcast can be found everywhere. iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever. There's 3 links below. Click on one of those, and please hit subscribe to that. It's very important. And if you want to support the show so that I can get a microphone and some soundproof padding and keep the show going, hey man, this podcast costs me money too. You can send money at paypal.me/archadvocate, paypal.me/archadvocate. One word, ARCH advocate. Now, ISIS Bride. Now this is hilarious, and I'm going to be using some potty mouth, so let's get right into this. All right. So here's the thing. There was a couple of gals that are trying to return to their country of origin. In the United Kingdom, there was Shamima Begum, and she just read a letter. She got a letter from the UK government saying, "F you, no, you can't come back." And I'm not going to address that one. This one I'm going to read. Sorry, not read. The video I'm going to play is from Hoda Muthana from the state of Alabama. She was born in New Jersey. But her family moved to Alabama. Now there's a couple of things before we get into this clip. There's a couple of things that have to be in your head already. She was gone for 5 years. She married 3, not 1, not 2, but the coveted hat trick. She married 3 ISIS fighters, okay? And had a baby, and was gone for 5 years. All right, and what was the catalyst that made her realize the error of her ways? Her team got beat. It would be like, who was it that played the Patriots? Oh, the Los Angeles Rams. This is what it would be like. It would be like at the very last few seconds of the clock in the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl, if one of the players from the Rams ran across the field, ran into the Patriots locker room, grabbed a uniform, put it on, and ran back out and said, "Yay, we won! Yay, Patriots!" That's, you know what I mean? That's what happened here. This lady's team lost, and then all of a sudden, she's a Yankee Doodle dandy all of a sudden. "I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, MAGA, 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 I love America." That's what she's saying now. Now, we're going to break down this conversation with this British dude that was giving her the interview. Just want to point out a couple of things. Now remember, I'm doing this all in my bid to be the czar of the new department of FU.
Do you feel regret for being part of an organization like ISIS?
Definitely. It's not Islamic at all. Anyone that says so, I will fight against it.
Oh, okay, so ISIS is not Islamic, but you still want to be a Muslim. Okay, fair enough. You know, freedom of religion. Let's keep going.
Hoda Muthana is begging for a second chance.
I'm just a normal human being who's been manipulated once and hopefully never again.
Now wait a minute, what do you mean hopefully never again? And just point out here, I'm just a kid, man. I'm innocent here. I'm the victim. I was gone for 5 years and I married 3 dudes and had a baby, but I'm just a kid. This isn't my fault. And hopefully I don't put my support all the way down to offering up my snoochie boochie, my vagina, up to people who kill Christian people and Jews and anybody who's not part of ISIS. Let's keep going.
4 years ago, when she was 19 years old, she left her Alabama home and hopped on a plane with a plan to join ISIS. She says she'd been brainwashed into thinking she was answering a higher calling.
Do you remember like waking up in the morning and thinking today is the day?
I was very active online, and I've heard of women going, and then I thought to myself that I need to go.
The militant Islamic group, known for public executions, kidnappings and beheading journalists, rose to power as an offshoot of Al-Qaeda over a decade ago, destroying towns and villages and murdering tens of thousands. But Muthana said she was unprepared for the violence of ISIS.
Okay, so this is a group that for over 10 years has been murdering people, kidnapping people, destroying villages for over 10 years. She joined up 5 years ago. So keep that in mind. When she came into ISIS, she was dropped right smack dab in the middle of all of the murders. And then she proceeded to marry 3 ISIS fighters. Keep that in mind.
We would see dead bodies in public. We'd see limbs splattered on the floor. Seeing it with your own eyes really made you wake up and change.
And, hey miss, how did those dead bodies splattered on the floor make you feel right away? And yet it took you 5 years to realize that, this is evil? Let's keep going.
And now, in an exclusive interview with ABC News, she says she wants to come home.
When I go back, I will learn more, and I will try to help people not make the same mistake that I have.
Mistake, you say? Not make the same mistake? Well, how can they make the same mistake now that we have conquered your team? There's no 5th quarter in the Super Bowl. Well, unless it's a tie. But in this case, it's not a tie. We beat your team, lady. You lose. You get nothing.
She says the birth of her now 18-month-old son changed her.
When he was born, I wanted to leave because I had a new motherhood instinct that I didn't have before.
A so-called ISIS bride, married twice to ISIS fighters, her son a product of her second marriage. She says she's renounced ISIS.
I hope America doesn't think I'm a threat to them, and I hope they can accept me.
Yeah, why would we think that you're a threat to us? Why would we think that your son, who you're now going to raise in a nation that you hate, why would we think that you're a threat or your son is going to grow up to be a threat? Why, is there any, I don't know, is there any data that people like me can take in so that we can make that judgment? Do you have any sort of, I don't know, something in your history, something on your resume that would tell us, well, maybe this gal, maybe we don't want this lady living next door to us? Anyways, shall we proceed?
Her life overseas, vastly different from the one she left behind in America. Muthana was born in New Jersey, the family finally settling in Hoover, Alabama, one of 5 children in an upper-middle-class family, which she says was strict.
I had a good relationship with my family, but I wanted a more Americanized life. I just wanted to go out. I wanted to have like friends, go to places. Yeah, they didn't get any of that. The only way out for me was just to become practicing.
To become more religious?
More religious, yeah.
In 2017, Muthana's father spoke to ABC News in shadow. At first, he said he was proud his daughter seemed to become more devout about religion, not realizing she was secretly taking cues from ISIS recruiters on her phone.
I never thought in my life that would happen to us, to me, to my family. But it happened to my family. It could happen to any other family.
Boy, you know you screwed up pretty bad when your dad is like, hey, Americans, this can happen to your kids too. This nightmare that you have, I actually lived through it.
Muthana insists she was brainwashed into becoming a radical Muslim after joining a secret Twitter network of roughly 3,000 like-minded members.
Wait a minute. Secret Twitter network? A secret Twitter network? Is there a dark Twitter? Is there a Twitter that the rest of us don't know about? What do you mean by secret Twitter network? You mean Twitter. I think that's what you're trying to refer to. You're talking about Twitter. And the fact that Jack Dorsey still, to this day, allows ISIS, allows terrorists like this dumbass to keep tweeting their anti-American rhetoric. Anyways, secret Twitter.
I had an account on Twitter, and we were all just normal Muslims speaking together, and like...
Normal Muslims, yes, yes.
I heard that the Khilafah was announced. I thought it was obligatory upon me to go.
She started spreading ISIS propaganda online, encouraging attacks on Americans. I read one of her infamous tweets to her.
Go on drive-bys and spill all of their blood, or rent a big truck and drive all over them. Veterans, Patriots, Memorial Day, kill them.
It's crazy. I can't even believe I thought of that, really.
Spill their blood, rent a truck, do it on any sort of patriotic event, kill them. And for those of you listening on the podcast, again, I would really like for you to go see the YouTube video of this, because as she is being read her own words back to her, she has a big grin on her face. Yeah, let's let this lady, let's let her move in next to me. Yeah. Anyways, here we go.
It's, the more I gained knowledge, the more I knew that it wasn't correct. So we had just young people not knowing much about their religion. We interpreted everything very wrong.
Oh, when did you know? When did you know that that wasn't correct? Could it be at the very end when you realized that your team lost? Okay, that's not the same thing as playing the game right, lady. Anyways.
In November of 2014, Muthana says she told her family she was going on a school trip to Atlanta, Georgia. Once there, she took a flight to Turkey, but she won't say how she made it into Syria.
So I don't know if you guys caught that. They kind of just glanced right over that. She flew to Turkey, probably Ankara, and she won't say, okay? That's very important. She will not say how she got into Syria. And do you want to know why? Because to do that, she would have to implicate ISIS people that are in Turkey. So she won't say. Not, you know I mean, she's not cooperating still. Let us keep going.
So you're in the safe house, and they keep you in Raqqa, the so-called capital of the caliphate.
They keep you in Raqqa with locks on all the doors and all the windows, and guards in front of the locked doors, and a guard in front of the guard.
And how many of you were in this room?
At a time, there'd be about 200 people. Everyone just gave their preferences on who they liked to marry, and then you were given a list, and then you can choose.
You were given a list of men,
yeah.
And you could choose a man from a list. Does that sound crazy to you now?
Sounds very crazy.
It just sounds so crazy. I was just so silly. It's so silly times. All right, now I want you to see this for those of you listening on the podcast. She just said there was approximately 200 women in a room. 200 who volunteered for this, and they ran an auction, and the men would come in and say who they liked, and then they were given a list of the men that said that they liked them, and then the women got to pick the men. This is called an auction. That is about as textbook as it gets. They auctioned themselves off, and both the men and the women participated in an auction for women who were there to give up the sweet, sweet Wayabo to these terrorists. And as she is, I want you to see the picture here. As she's relaying this story, she's laughing. Oh, just silly times. Just silly times, people.
She says her first husband was an Australian of Bangladeshi origin. They were married just 3 months before he was killed in battle, seen here in photos taken from his now deleted social media. Her second husband, a Tunisian and the father of her child. He too is dead.
We were all just young girls married for the first time. Most of us, it was our first relationship, and then he just suddenly dies.
She says she married a third time, but doesn't know where her husband is now.
Doesn't know where her husband is now. That's interesting. Okay, all right. 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3 terrorists. Is there a pattern forming here? You married 3 people who are terrorists. And thank God 2 of them are dead. Probably the third guy is dead too, hopefully.
6 weeks ago, Muthana fled Susa, a village not far from where US-backed forces are closing in on ISIS in Syria.
Okay, that's 6 weeks ago from February 20th. All right, so 6 weeks ago would be so that's early January of 2019. If you're listening to this podcast today on February 22nd, last month she ran away from ISIS, right? We defeated ISIS quite a while ago, but we're still kind of stomping out all the little fires. So she held out hope, right? That perhaps the quarterback was going to go against the Patriots and just, throw a Hail Mary and get it into the end zone and tie the game up and maybe somehow, get it into overtime and maybe take it then. She just left just a few weeks ago. Keep that in mind as we finish this, because there's something that she says here coming up that you must hear. Here we go.
Just days ago, I witnessed the aftermath.
Look at it, because this is what liberation looks like in Syria.
She says she left fearing for her and her son's safety.
There was nothing in the market, there was nothing in the shops. We were eating what was cow food, and we just plucked grass from around our houses and fried it. Seeing my son eat grass, that was my last day.
And there we have it, folks. It's right there. This is when she realized that it was over. When there was no food to be purchased in the markets, there was nothing to eat, and all of your men that you didn't get around to marrying were gone, and so you had to eat grass. This is something, in the country that I'm in right now, this is something I've actually witnessed by people that are very poor. It's heartbreaking to watch. This lady came to the realization that the only food that was left to eat was what cows eat. That's grass. It was then that it occurred to her, oh, wait a minute. I'm an American citizen still. If I just go back home, I can go to Walmart. F these ISIS losers. I'm out of here, man. Let's finish up here.
After spending 2 nights in the desert, she was captured by Kurdish forces and placed in the sprawling Kurdish-run Al-Hol refugee camp in northern Syria. She's believed to be the only American inside the camp.
Can you see why people back in the United States will be skeptical of your story? That you now say you regret having joined the Islamic State, but it's only really because you want to come home.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone thinks that. And I hope they excuse me because of how young and ignorant I was, really.
Yeah, is there any way that you can, as you're telling us how repentant you are, is there any way that you can wipe that shit-eating grin off of your effing face? Hold on one second. Let's finish this up here.
And I can tell them that now I've changed, and now I'm a mother, and now I have none of the ideology, and hopefully everyone will see it when I get back.
Yes, you've had none of the ideology now for a whole 5 weeks. Yes, you're completely detoxed. Absolutely. Come in. Why don't you move into my house?
Countries around the world are grappling with the issue of repatriating ISIS brides like Muthana and others involved with ISIS. President Trump has said he wants American ISIS militants brought back to the US to face justice, while asking European allies to take back their ISIS fighters and put them on trial.
No, Mr. President, don't do that. Just form a new department of, like federal policing called the Department of FU, and make me the czar. Give me a badge that is a bronzen image of the middle finger. I want a badge, and I want to fly private like Bernie Sanders flies everywhere. I want to fly over to Kurdistan, where this lady is. I want to fly over there and say, "Hello, lady. I'm from the government. The president has sent me. Fuck you. I'm here from the Department of FU. Fuck you, lady. You can't come back in. Fuck you. You with you're sitting there with your shit-eating grin, talking about how you gave up your pussy to these demons, these terrorists, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And then you had one of their satanic spawn, and you're gonna raise him up, and you're still a devout Muslim, and your whole mind has been completely changed for an entire 5 weeks? No. You can go to Guantanamo Bay. You can go there. We don't want you on our soil, lady. You and your filthy other friends like Shamima Begum. F you too, lady. Dude, you guys should go watch. I'm not going to play it for you guys on this podcast. You guys need to go watch this lady reading the letter from her government, where her government says, "Hey, Shamima, Fuck you. That's what we have to say to you, lady. That's the segment for today. Please hit subscribe and support the show on paypal.me/archadvocate. And stay tuned for the next segment.